Hello and welcome to the first in what we hope will be a series of short videos just showing small little pieces of functionality in AdapTable that can hopefully make you more productive, efficient. So these are things which our users might not be aware of. Some of them are the result of recent user requests, and others are ones which we thought people might be interested in because they might not know they're there. So the first one we're going to look at today is a question we were asked recently, is it possible to filter on a particular cell? So rather than creating the filter itself, just to say I want to filter on a cell, and the answer is you can do it through the context menu. So for instance, you can right click, say in this cell here for JavaScript, and you can say filter on cell value, and immediately AdapTable creates an equals filter for JavaScript. You can actually filter on more than one. So for instance, if we decide, let's add the, there's license, so let's move it up so we can see it better. So for instance, if we want to filter on both BSD and other, we can highlight both cells, and then when we right click, filter on cell values, it's in the context menu by default. This time it turns it into an in, and you can see it's created an in on those two. So that's a nice easy way to go to any cell in AdapTable and immediately filter the grid on that cell. Another thing we've been asked is this dashboard here. A lot of people like the dashboard. You can have multiple tabs and toolbars. You can create custom toolbars, custom buttons. It's a very useful area to access frequently used functionality in AdapTable, but sometimes it can take up a lot of screen estate, particularly if you have multiple grids. So we've been asked whether you can reduce this space in some way, and actually there's three things you can do. So the first is you can always collapse the currently active toolbar, tab, sorry. So if I collapse that, you see we still see the dashboard, we still see the name of the toolbar, and we still have search, and then I can open it again for expanded view. Or you can go completely the other way and you can hide it all together. So anytime you want, you can go into dashboard and you can do hide and it disappears. Or you can do it from here, dashboard, and now show, and it comes back again. But possibly the least known option, but we think often the most useful, is actually what we call floating mode. And here, essentially, you can double click on the dashboard toolbar, and you can now put this anywhere you want. You can still use it, so you can kind of any buttons you've got in the dashboard will open, or we could use search and it all works fine. But then it's out of the way, you've still got your space, and if you do want to put it back again, just double click it and it pushes back into place. So there's some options for managing dashboard visibility where screen real estate is at a premium. Something else we've been added is in free text columns, and let's first add a free text column. And the question is there a way to set a default? So for instance, let's imagine I create a column called comments, and I'll stick it here. I'll go into my layout. I will add comments, and I'll just push it up a little bit. So there's my free text column, and obviously that's empty. I can now add text. I can sort of say, hello world. And these will get saved not with my data source, but they'll get saved with my AdapTable state. But people have said, well, is there a way to update all of them, or in fact have a default value? And what some people thought they needed to do was do a bulk update, and that does work. You could do that if you wanted to. So we could say apply a bulk update. We could say we want a new value, and we could say hello here, and then obviously that will update all those, but you'd have to still do the other ones. So in fact, a better solution is when you create the free text column, or in this case edit it, you can give it a default value. So here we have the default value. So if we now say the default value is goodbye, that will be what will be used for every cell that is empty. So now if I close that, you can see every cell that wasn't already populated says goodbye. So a nice easy way of creating a default free text column value, which then obviously users can override with a new value as and when needed. Something else we've been asked is around format conditions in grouping. So let's create a format condition. So we'll create a format column for this group, and we will say we want to see it where it is greater than 100,000. Let's create the condition. So let's make, say, the back color brown. Let's make the fore color white. And now that's it. And now, actually, let's, did I say I must have done 10,000? Let me edit that. I did 10,000. Let's make it 100,000 so you can see fewer. And now here we see fewer. But now if I was to say group by license, and you can now see here these two are greater than 100,000, but we don't see our format. And the reason is because formats only by default work on the values in the row and not on a aggregated or grouped value. But again, that's easy to change. If we go back to our format column and we edit it yet another time, if we go into settings, we can see there's an include grouped rows. If we check that, now it will include grouped columns. So we can see these two are more than 100,000, so they're styled even though they're grouped and aggregated, and this one still isn't because it's not. Obviously that would change, so if we were to edit this one and make it big enough, then obviously the grouped row would also change. And the last thing we're going to look at is another request we've had, and this is around what can we do for fat fingers. So let's imagine I wanted to make this 5 million. I can do it, but then you're never quite sure, is it 5 million, is it 50 million, is it 500,000? Is there a quick way of doing it? And the answer is yes. In AdapTable, we provide what we call shortcuts. So let's very quickly show how you can do that. So you go to the shortcuts section, and we will add a new shortcut. You can add it for all numeric columns, or you can add it for some. Let's just add it for these two for the moment. And then you can choose what the shortcut is. And there's really three parts to a shortcut. There's the shortcut key, the key in the keyboard which will activate it. So in our case, we want 1 million to be M. So we click M. The operation's multiply, but you can do add, subtract, multiply, or divide. And then this is the value. This is what will be multiplied. So when I click M, I'm going to multiply by 1 million. And now, if I go into this cell and I want to do 10 million, I would do 10 M and it becomes 10 million. If I want to do 7.5 million, 7.5 M, and it becomes 7.5 million. So a nice easy way to avoid fat fingers, and obviously you can do as many as you want for K's for thousands, V's for fat, etc, etc. So there we are, some tips and tricks in AdapTable. Hope they're of interest. As always, please get in touch if you'd like to ask more about what AdapTable does, how we can make you more productive and more efficient, and above all, thank you for watching.